All right, here we go. We're starting Unit 8. So, Unit 8, we talked about directed variation, inverse variation, we talked about piecewise functions, and then we talked about regressions. So, let's start with direct and inverse. So, the first thing you need to remember, direct means as one increases, the other increases. That's your direct. Inverse means as one increases, the other one decreases. So, that's going to help you when it's coming to like something like this. So, on this first one, my x's are increasing, my y's are increasing. This is a direct variation. Now, if I wanted to write the equation, remember your direct is y equals kx. So I'm thinking x times what gives me y? So here, x times 8 gives me 16. But does 3 times 8 give me 54? No, that doesn't work. So you know it's not y equals kx. So always try with your base one, and then if that doesn't work, start to manipulate your equation a little. So maybe we'll try x squared. So let's plug it in. 16 is equal to k, x squared is 2 squared, so 4. So k is equal to 4. We're going to try that. If we try that for the next one, 3 squared is 9. Times 4 is not 54. So x squared, that does not work. So then we're going to keep changing. And you got to keep just changing until you kind of figure out what it is. So if you try y equals kx cubed, you have that 16 is equal to k times 8, because 2 cubed is 8. So your k value has to equal 2 then. So then if you try it for the next one, 3 cubed, that's 27, times 2 does give you 54. If you try here, 4 cubed, that's 64, times 2 is 128. And so this one ends up working. So your equation ends up being y equals 2x cubed. Some of y'all like freaked out on the homework. That was a homework question. So just so you can see it on there. Next one, inverse and direct is your first thing. Well, as our x's are increasing, our y values are decreasing. That makes this an inverse. Now, inverse is y equals k over x. The easiest value to plug in is when you're at 1. So if you go to where you're at 1, it hits the graph right here, which is 1 comma 12. So if I plug in 12 is equal to k over 1, that gives me that my k value is equal to 12. So y equals 12 over x. Boom. Last one, assume that they vary inversely. So again, you're using y equals k over x, and it tells you what your x and y are. So your y is 8, your x is 5. So if we wanted to solve for this, we would multiply by 5, multiply by 5. K is equal to 40. So our equation, y equals 40 over x. If you get one of those, make that a freebie question. Those should be easy. All right, next thing is graphing. So if you're going to graph an inverse variation, it's going to have that kind of curve to it. You just want to plug in a couple values so you can start to see what it looks like. So if I plug in 1, 5 divided by 1 is 5. So the point 1 comma 5 is on there. If I plug in 2, 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. So you have the point 2 comma 2.5. Put you like right there-ish. If you plug in 3, 4, 5, like keep plugging in. 5 is going to be a nice easy one. So if I plug in 5, I'm going to get 5 comma 1. 5 comma 1. So you can start to see it's going to look something like that. If you're doing direct is going to be, well, as long as it's in linear form, that's going to be like slope. So again, plug in some values. If I plug in 0, I get 0. If I plug in 1, I get 1/2. If I plug in 2, I get 1. So this part right here is going to represent your slope. So if we have a slope of 1/2, I can go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. And so, oh, that's not very over 2. So I'm going to get this straight line that looks like that. Again, those should be those are pretty straightforward.